Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Nikki here, and today I have to make 3 corner pockets with inserts as part of a swap that I am involved in this year. If you saw my video from last month, I made a very simple plain journal and I stepped you through how I made it, and I have kept it undecorated as I will be receiving goodies that we have to make throughout the year, and of course in return I have to send them to the other participants. So I have to make 3 pockets today, and the lady I am swapping with loves mauve, blue, purple, dragonflies, butterflies, flowers and music, which is great, except I realised so much of my stash involves pink flowers and green leaves, and I didn't have that much to pick from that fell fully into those categories. But I have done the fussy cutting to make things simple and to make things a little quicker for you to watch. And the first pocket I'm doing here is not a standard triangle or anything like that. You can see the beautiful rose gold foil on there. I wanted to have all of that in my pocket without making it way too big. So I've glued piece A onto piece B, and of course I technically have 2 pockets, so I'm creating 2 journaling cards to use in those pockets. So they're quite neutral backgrounds, and just to provide a bit of visual interest, I'm just adding a little bit of book page to each of these, and then of course I will trim them down. I hate cutting corners. Do you like having to cut corners out? I should have just grabbed the corner rounder out once I had finished these, because I hate having to cut them. They're never as nice. But anyway, I had already cut them, so that's it. And for the sake of this video, I didn't want to have to wait until it had dried, so I'm just cutting corners. So yes, just trimming those up. And then I realised the contrast is very high, so I want to tone it down and push that into the background. So I think a little bit of stamping is the answer. But first of all, I realised the back of that card has quite a heavy print on it. You really couldn't journal on that. So I've just grabbed a piece of coffee dyed paper. I'm sticking that on the back. See, the other one's quite plain, so I didn't have to worry about that one. But this one here, no, you can't. It's too bold. So we're just quickly sticking that down and then trimming all around to get rid of the excess. Then I have been through my stamps collection, and I've picked a few stamps that I think might suit for what I'm trying to do. And then I had to decide, do I want to do black or not? And I decided no. For the first one, I'm picking a stamp and I'm putting them on a piece of paper because, of course, I got glue on my cutting mat, didn't I? And so we're grabbing a piece of paper to make this easier. So here is a stamp I have had forever. I don't even know where I got it from. And I'm putting a tiny bit, just a very light coating of this gorgeous Versamark Dewdrop, because it has a beautiful coppery colour. So that goes nicely with the rose gold on the actual pocket. But then I noticed that the gaps between each line are quite generous, and I want a little bit more coverage. So what I'm doing is I'm stamping down again, but trying to put it in between. And that works out much better. I am much happier with that. Then, to be a bit different for the next one, I've got this lovely old timber stamp I bought at a market. I'm just popping down some black ink on this one. Not too heavy again. It doesn't have to be the best print I've ever done. I just want to soften that background a bit. Actually turned out very nice. I'm certainly quite happy with that. Then I have done my fussy cutting, and I did manage to find these 2 flowers that are in the correct colour tone out of a cut apart book I got at the scrapbook shop. And so I've just done one of each of those. So the first one being longer and thinner, I think is a perfect match for the smaller card. And of course I'm using my favourite tiger glue, which I use for just about all my crafting, but I decant it into that little bottle when I'm doing tiny fiddly things. And then I'm popping the other one up in the left-hand corner there. But I still think I need something else. So I am grabbing my little, this is an old stamp album of mine that I now keep little ephemera pieces in. And I've got these cute little little number things. What are they called? You know what they're called. And they have the same sort of greeny colour tone that is used in the flowers in the pocket. So I thought they're going to be a good match. And I'm just popping one of those on each of these just for a tiny little bit of interest. And then I'm leaving it at that. I think that's enough, especially because the pocket itself, the initial the print on it is quite bold, so I really don't think we need too much else on those ones. And here we are, we're just slotting it in, and that's how it will look. So I'm very happy with that one. Now, time to move on to number 2. I'm doing a very traditional triangle. Again, I've picked this shape to try and make use of there's the envelope print on it. I really like the look of that. Now, just to add a little bit of extra interest to this one, I've grabbed some blue lace so that I add a little bit more blue, which is one of her favourite colours, to this particular pocket. And you'll notice it's not a perfect triangle shape. I actually like to have the inside one a little bit longer. I find things sit a little bit more stable in that. And because this is wet glue and I want to keep going without waiting for it to dry, I'm popping this down onto a piece of baking paper so that it doesn't stick. And I realise I didn't put glue quite in the corners, so we definitely have to fix that. So now flipping this over, there is that big pink flower which sort of stands out quite a bit there, and I have a feeling this lady is not, pink is not one of her favourite colours because it's not on the list. So I'm going to dull that down with this little butterfly that I actually cut in half, and I'm just using half of it because I needed something that would fit up in that size that I had available down there. And then I've got a tiny little Tim Holtz butterfly that I'm popping down in the other corner on top of the white flowers. And then I'm just trimming off the lace, and that's the pocket done. We just sort of have to put that aside to dry now while I continue on with my insert. Now, because there is a postcard printed on the pocket, I decided to make a little postcard style insert. I've got a little bit of damage on that side, which is the back of it. So I thought, well, we'll just cut out another little butterfly, and that will hide that little, it was a tiny daub of glue that got stuck on it. So there we go. You'll never know that's happened. And now I just want to very briefly make this look a little bit like a postcard, just so that the two go together. So we're popping down a real stamp in a nice bright blue colour so that we again add a little bit more blue to it. Now, I went hunting through my stamps and of course couldn't find the postmark stamp I actually wanted. So I'm using this other one from my stash, and I'm just trying to put the ink onto the lower part of it because I don't want the words that are in the circle of it. So hopefully this should work out okay. It doesn't have to be a perfect print. Postmarks often aren't. That actually worked out just fine. And then just to make it look a little bit more like a real postcard, I'm just grabbing my little Pigma Micron. It's a nice fine one. It's quite nice for drawing lines, marking the halfway point, and then I'm just drawing down that middle line that's often seen on postcards, and just a few little lines. I'm not even measuring them. They don't have to be perfect, just so it does sort of look like a real postcard. And then, of course, you can still journal on the back because it's a nice light colour. So there we go, quick and easy. And again, perfect match there for my triangular corner pocket. And now we get to the last one. Now, I found a piece of this mauve coffee-dyed paper in my stash, but it's quite thin. So I thought, right, how can we make that a little bit thicker? I just glued down a collection of scraps, some coloured, some plain, and I did exactly the same to create the journaling card, except I did them in the opposite direction, just to provide a bit more contrast. And as she loves dragonflies, I found this perfect one that fitted just so nicely on that pocket. Oh, and by the way, I cut that round edge just using a saucer. I wanted it 9 by 9 centimetres, and then I just used a saucer to help cut out that round shape. And sticking with the theme, but I didn't have any nice little dragonflies, so I'm just popping down 2 butterflies. I liked these without the colour, just that dark print. It provides really good contrast. And just like that, we're all done. And oh no, I forgot. I had this cute little scrap. Colours are perfect. Decided to just make a little tag with the strip that was at the bottom of that sheet, because it has the flowers that match the other side. So I've thrown that in for good measure. And there we are. My pockets are all done. They're quick, they're easy, but I think they fit the criteria perfectly. Hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, stay safe and stay healthy. And please subscribe if you aren't already a subscriber. Bye for now.